Shalom, I'm Lars Enarsson with the Watchman International, coming to you with this report on the situation in Israel on Friday, September 5. The ceasefire in Gaza is still holding. However, the conflict is not over. When Prime Minister Netanyahu agreed to a ceasefire with Hamas, he said that it was a great victory for Israel because Hamas did not get any of their demands met. Well, that is only partially true because Israel agreed to continue the negotiations with Hamas, indirectly with Hamas in Cairo, about the demands that Hamas has made. For instance, opening the border crossings into Gaza and also building a seaport as well as an airport. If Israel will not agree to any of these demands by Hamas, the risk is great that Hamas will begin the conflict all over again by firing rockets into Israel from Gaza. In fact, some of the main leaders now within the Israeli army are recommending Prime Minister Netanyahu to give in to some of Hamas demands, because otherwise it is a great risk that Hamas will begin to fire rockets again into Israel. So we need to stand in the gap, friends, and really pray. We must also remember that from the beginning of the conflict in Gaza, the nations of the world, primarily the United States of America as well as the EU, adopted several of Hamas demands, like opening the border crossings into Gaza, which would result in Hamas rearming themselves right away now after the conflict has subsided. And we said that God told us after the ceasefire was made that Israel has now granted Hamas a ceasefire. The nations of the world will now begin to pressure Israel to give in to Hamas demands. And this is the situation we are now facing. So we need to continue to pray. Also, the borders to Lebanon as well as to Syria are continuing to heat up, and several mortars and rockets have been fired into Israel from those areas in recent weeks. The decision by the Israeli government to incorporate about 1,000 acres of land in the so-called West Bank in the Gush Etzion block south of Bethlehem, to make it Israeli state-owned land where there is a possibility that they can begin to build houses and develop the area. This decision has been vehemently opposed by the international community. The United States is demanding that the government of Israel will take back this decision, in fact, because they say that it is not helpful in establishing the two-state solution, even though the conflict this summer with Hamas has shown very clearly that a two-state solution will not solve the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. So we need to pray, because Israel is greatly pressed now by the nations to give in to the Palestinian demands. We also need to remember that this decision to incorporate some of the land in the West Bank into state-owned Israeli land will not change the situation for the foreseeable future. It will take years until houses will begin to be built in this area, if ever. Most likely, Prime Minister Netanyahu allowed this decision to be made in order to deflect criticism from the right for the way he has handled the conflict with Hamas this summer. If elections were held right now in Israel, according to polls, the right-wing party Jewish Home, led by Naftali Bennett, would increase their seats in the Knesset from 12 to 19 seats. Also, the polls have shown that when they have asked who is the leader now for the Israeli right, almost twice as many believe that it is Naftali Bennett and not Benjamin Netanyahu. We are praying, and we need to continue to pray for a leader and a prime minister in Israel that will boldly declare that the land of Israel belongs to the people of Israel. And the first step that must be taken is to adopt the so-called Edmund Levy report, which was actually ordered by Prime Minister Netanyahu in order to find out what the legal consequences are of building in Judea and Samaria. The Levy report, it declared clearly that it is not against international law for Israel to build in Judea and Samaria. And that is, of course, contrary to what the EU and the UN, as well as the United States, are saying. So we need to pray that the government will adopt this report. Prime Minister Netanyahu has refused to do this so far because it would be a great obstacle to the two-state solution that he has said he is favoring as long as a Palestinian state will be disarmed or demilitarized. So it is time for us to pray now that Israel will not give in to the demands of the nations, but stand firm on the rights to their own land. Please go to our website, thewatchman.org, and subscribe to the prayer alerts in the Elijah Prayer Army, and you will get more information as well as the specific prayer points that we are praying for right now. Also, you can begin to register a prayer cell with the Elijah Prayer Army. We're encouraging everybody right now to get together, to pray, and to form these prayer cells. And we're building a network of prayer for Israel at this very crucial time. I'm Lars Enarsson with the Watchman International. God bless you and Shabbat Shalom.